All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So I see a lot of familiar faces in here. That makes this a little bit easier. And then I see some people I don't really know, which makes the pressure ramp up. So I'm going to steal a little bit of a line from Tim Strelner. I wish I would have thought of it before we put this presentation together, but a lot of you probably went to Mr. Bigler's Managing Effective Reviews in the first session. So I'm going to try not to suck during this session, okay? Because I have seen that, and it is awesome, and we're trying to implement a lot of what Jeff does. So leveling up with technology. That's a cute name. I think Jesse probably came up with that. He basically just told me, talk about your tech stack a little bit and how we're utilizing it. So I did not come up with that. I can't take any credit, but we put it on our PowerPoint. So today, I'm going to give you a few different ideas on some of the technology you guys are probably maybe already using, but just really how in-depth we're getting with it. And I want this to be interactive. Stop me in the middle if you have questions. I do have Miranda from my team here that if you get a real technical question that I can't answer, she's here. Because she is our Chief Technology Officer, we like to joke about. Because nobody else in our office can really do anything with technology. So this is a little bit about my team. Just real quick, we have Miranda who's with us today, who's been with us now for almost a year and a half. Yeah, awesome. Time flies when you're having fun, right? And she does do a lot of our technology, right? We've really tried to take our experience with the client up a notch, even in our presentations in our conference room. And we could not do that without Miranda. She is the brains behind the operation when it comes to that. So, and also why she's here to help me if I get stuck. A lot of you probably met Maddie and Meredith last night. Maddie's been with me for 7 years. Meredith just started in January and has already passed her 7 in SIE and working on her 66 right now. So all of these team members are going to be available to you if you sign up with the sign-up sheet that I think Miranda passed around. Name and email, and you'll have our contact information when we're done here. That this organization has given so much to me and our firm that I want to be able to give back and help any of you. That if you have any questions, you can contact any one of us at any time. Okay, so let's just start with kind of the tech stack, if you will, everything that we're using, right? And some of this stuff. I'll probably ask a little bit of a show of hands so I know where to kind of cater to and talk to a little bit on this, but we're using, and this is just the first page, right? MyRepChat. Now, okay, I got to throw out a disclaimer here. We're going to talk about Calendly today, but you can't use it. So in my audit that I just had with Lisa Kennedy, I would say August 10th, we found out that Calendly is not an approved technology. But I didn't have time to get it changed, right? So there's other options that you can use in replace of Calendly after you watch our presentation today, and we'll talk about those. And we are moving to be compliant with SSD, okay? So we got MyRepChat, Calendly, Mobile Assistant, Vidyard, WMP, MoneyGuide Elite, Riskalyze, FMG Suite, and Zoom, right? Thousands of dollars wrapped up in our tech stack, and we probably don't even have everything on this list here. So I'll back up a second. By a show of hands, who's using MyRepChat? 1, 2, 3. About 3 or 4? Okay, cool. How about Calendly or some sort of calendar sharing or calendar access with your clients? 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. All right, perfect. We're going to focus a little bit on those two to start with. And talk a little bit about Vidyard and WMP as well as we close out. So MyRepChat, in its purest form, is just compliant text messaging, right? And how many of you have probably given out your personal cell phone to your clients? Right? Yeah. And all of a sudden you get in the text messages at 6 in the morning, 9 o'clock at night, right? And that's how you build a business. We're trying to change that a little bit and retrain our clients, right? That yes, you can still text, but we've created a compliant text messaging number that's the exact same number as our office phone, right? So MyRepChat, you have access to text a client right from your desktop, right? right from your iPhone with an app, and all members of your team can see that text message. Yeah, we got a little Toto going on here, don't we?
Turn that down.
It's a good tune. Let it play, Jeff. But so my rep chat, compliant text messaging, right? The entire team can see it, right? So if I'm texting a client and then I'm out the next day when the response comes in, Miranda, Meredith, Maddie can see that text message and get right back with that client, right? And again, it's on your desktop. It can be on your iPhone with an app. So anywhere, anytime you can utilize it. It also archives that text message, right? So if you're using like a Redtail or a Salesforce as your client management system, it's going to archive that text message, date and timestamp it, right? So if you ever have any clients that question your ability to reach out and schedule a review, they get frustrated, or you run into any compliance issues about maybe SSD saying, hey, you haven't had a review with this client, they're maybe not a right fit for a managed account, you can at least show and document that you've tried to reach out several times, right? And maybe that's going to buy you another couple months to get in contact with that client, to get that review scheduled where you can continue to maintain that advisory relationship. So date and timestamp right in Redtail. Calendly then is the tool that we're using. And the other two options that are compliant are OneSub and EngageWare. Okay, and I think they do pretty much the same thing. But this is our way of trying to, how do I want to say this? Not minimize access to us or me, but managing when we're meeting with a client. I am horrible about telling a client no. If they want to meet on a Sunday, okay, let's do it. Right? Friday night, let's do it. And that's what, there's some young guys in the room here. You might have to do that, right, as you're building your practice. And if you want to do that your entire career, that's great too. But I'm trying to get down to a 35-hour work week because I like to coach football and baseball and go to piano and ballet and all those things with my kids. So we're trying to retrain the client a little bit to schedule those reviews right online, right? Or giving them access through a link where they can go in and see our availability, right? And it's a process. I'll tell you, we've been doing this now for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months, and it's starting to pay dividends. But when clients have been used to being able to just call me whenever and set up a review and say, hey, can we do it at 6 o'clock at night on a Wednesday? It's a little bit of a learning curve, right? Give me a minute here. You got logged out.
Did they get an email that okay, September is their review month, it's annually in September, that prompts them to then go to Calendly, or what service you're using?
Great question. I'm going to go to that right now, Scott. So Miranda's created a master spreadsheet, and we're trying to get our reviews spread out throughout the year, right? And it gets a little overwhelming, right? So we're trying to break it up where we have the same amount of reviews in a month, right? And so she's created that spreadsheet, and now we're trying to get that integrated with Redtail. This first full year, it's going to take some time to do that. But essentially, our process for scheduling a review is, the first thing is a text message. And I know it might seem a little bit impersonal, but think about the phone. I mean, how many of you have called a client, right? And then the next thing is, they don't answer, but you get a text back saying, hey, what's up? Anybody had that experience? Right? And especially with millennials, right? It's like this aversion to answering the phone. So we just decided, okay, let's just try to schedule a review right from the get-go with a text message, a compliant text message from my rep chat. And you'll see it's just pretty basic right here. This one's from Miranda. Hey, it's time for your annual review meeting with Andy. Here's the link to his calendar if you'd like to schedule a time that works best for you. There it is. And then I'll just take you into what it looks like.
That's cool. So each one of them has, each one of your team members have their own account, so they know who it's coming from, even though it's to the same number. That one.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes. And so I always put my name in the text anyway, but I think it does timestamp with your name, doesn't it? Yep. So, and then just the link, this is what it takes you to right here, right? An in-person, Zoom, or phone call, right? And in person, another thing that it's helped me do is avoid going to their home, right? I mean, there's a lot of guys in this room that built their business around the kitchen table or at the restaurant, right? And how effective really is that today? It's hard. I don't know about you guys, but when we're going through a review, there's a lot of technology we need access to. And doing it on a laptop and kind of doing this, at their kitchen table, it doesn't work, right? So we're trying to drive people into our office. So again, if I'm calling, yeah, sure, I'll come to your house in Des Moines at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. I just have a hard time saying no. But by trying to drive people here, this in-person meeting, it's in our office. This means our office, right? Zoom or phone call. And Zoom has been very popular. We had been using that prior to the pandemic, and it's just helped that much more. If there's a silver lining in anything, I guess, clients are okay with doing Zooms. It's cut down my travel to Des Moines significantly. I used to be there 2 or 3 times a week. I've maybe been there 3 times this summer, which is awesome, right? So it just drives them right here. Now, if that doesn't work, then it's a phone call from Miranda, right? So we have a process set up in Redtail, an activity template created for reviews that goes to an automatic workflow, right? And the workflow is everything in the review process. Nothing is missed. So it kind of serves as like a operational handbook, if you will, right? So if I don't leave, but if Miranda ever left, we're creating this handbook within Redtail that it's like, hey, it's time to do a review, and here's everything that needs to be done. From the first text message that goes out, the second phone call, the phone call from me, if it gets that far, I'm not real happy, but hey, it's gonna happen. To then everything that has to be prepared, the agenda, the linking of the accounts, the linking of the documents, the notes, the client follow-up, the marking the review complete in WMP, the uploading the documents into document management, saving and completing the Redtail activity, scheduling the Redtail activity for next year, right? So you can see it's going to be a year-long process. We'll already have that Redtail review activity pop up in Miranda's queue sometime in September. So if this doesn't work, right, Miranda's phone call, that doesn't work, then it's a phone call from me. And again, it's just training clients, right? We want them to have the respect for our team. We're investing in a team, right? She's calling because, not to chat, to do a review. And so I'm having to have some of those conversations initially right now to get clients on board with scheduling with Miranda or online.
Can you go to that and see what it looks like, the calendar?
Yes. So here's what's awesome. And I think there might be 1 or 2 little differences between OneSub and Calendly that we chose Calendly. We're able to lock down, when we want to have those reviews, right? Specific times, right? So we're doing 12 meetings a week, max. That's it. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 meetings those 3 days. Mondays for the team, right? And prep. Fridays for follow-up and financial planning and research. So, 12 meetings. So that's why we really got to stay on it, right? I mean, I don't know how many advisory accounts we have, but it's well north of 150, right? So we have to make sure we're getting those meetings every month or every week. The other thing, this is a Gabe Bowers trick that changed my life. When Monday morning hits, no more meetings for that week. We're not going to allow for scheduling the week of, right? Just too derailing, right? We are all, parents and busy with our practices and the compliance requirements that have been put on us with duty of care and Right Bridge. It's just impossible to have and prepare for a good meeting the week of, right? So Monday morning hits, you will not see availability this week, right? This is the week of the 5th, right? Yeah, there's no availability, and it looks like there's maybe a couple slots, 1 slot available on Thursday, September 15th, right? And that'll go out as long as, how far does it go out, Miranda? 2 months out? Perfect. Been pretty effective. It's also taken those clients and some people just follow direction. They just fall in line, and we just never asked before. It's like, oh, okay, I got to meet him in his office at 12:30 on Wednesday. So sometimes we got to get over ourselves, right? And that was really hard for me. I always want to try to make it easy. We're still making it easy, it's just different, right? And change for some people comes easier than others. I'm missing Toto, no.
Is compliance looking at approving this?
I don't think so, but I think, again, OneSub is almost identical. There might have been some things where, blocking out certain things wasn't as flexible on OneSub as Calendly. I think the problem with Calendly is they're not playing nice with the SEC. They're not releasing some data that the SEC would want. If I'm not, maybe you don't know yet. So I think we started down the line with OneSub, so we liked that. There was an issue there because we use Zimbra and Redtail as our email hosting, and Calendly didn't play nice with that. Or OneSub didn't play nice with that. That's why we had to pivot to Calendly. So Seth, I know you've been using this for a long time. Which one do you use?
OneSub I've used for probably 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Did you start with Calendly? Okay.
I've always used OneSub.
Very similar to what you're seeing here. Yep. So it's like there's other options, and we're going to pivot to them next week. But for illustrative purposes, I didn't have time to get it changed because I think Once Hub. Yep. Okay. So then here's just an example of it gets archived in the notes section of Redtail, right? So you get that date and time stamp, and so it's right there, and that's awesome. Automatically. Pretty awesome. Yep. This one's kind of new. So, okay, you know how Miranda, she's going to send the text, do the phone call, and then that gets to me for the phone call? I'm really trying not to schedule reviews at all. And I know some people, that's what they want to do. They want to be in charge of scheduling their own reviews. I don't, right? Because again, I can't say no. So instead of a call, this one I picked up from Greg Johnson, I believe, showed me this one at our last study group. But Vidyard is compliant video email messaging, right? So think about when email first came out, everybody used it. And now what is it? It's junk. It's a dumpster fire, right? Half the stuff gets buried. So we have to find ways to try to be different, right? So I'll just play this. I don't know if we'll get much sound. Oh. Yeah, yeah. And we're new to this, so don't give me a hard time about the video. The lighting's not great. We'll get a lot better at that. Oh shoot. Bear with me, guys. I apologize. Well, we might not be able to get audio because we're connected here. But the gist of it is, right, it's different. It's personal. People like and want to see you, right? I mean, a lot of us have built our business just on relationships alone, right? If they don't like you, like Joe Theismann said the other day, I'm not going to do business with you. So let them see you. And this is the embedded Calendly link, right? So again, I still haven't had to do too much yet, right? And I could make this very generic template, and still it's personal, right? Because it's me, right? So I have an off-the-shelf template that I can just plug and play, and okay, now we're going to try to get the review this way. So the link's embedded, and you'll see right there, right back to it. Right, so that is how we're going about our review process with technology, right? Text message, phone call, video, email. And it's a process, but we're getting there. I'll pause there for a second. Any questions on that?
So that email goes out after they don't do the text message deal?
Yeah,
If
if they-
you get it by text message, that video never goes out.
Exactly. Yep. And in the workflow process, you see all those steps, right?
Yeah.
And you have to complete them off so that we know that it's done, right? And what are we doing? We're doing 3 days after the initial text that you're calling. two or 3 days, and then it's 2 or 3 days after her phone call that I would send this, right? And ultimately, I will still call a client, but we're really trying to not stray from our process to try to retrain our clients, right?
And you use any sort of like Ring Central or your phone system?
We do. It's not Ring Central, it's through Access Systems. What's the name? Max UC, okay. So we can, so all 3 of the girls are here this week, right? And we closed our office. But we have the ability to roll those lines directly to the girl's cell phone without them giving out their personal cell phone number, which is really nice. Yep.
Do you use that Vidyard for other purposes other than just scheduling?
Yes. So Vidyard, okay, we're just scratching the surface, so I want to give you guys some ideas on this. Let me go to my notes. The one thing that immediately, when I was looking into this, I'm like, okay, how about all the paper that our clients are getting from InvestNet accounts or Pershing, right? Just nuts, right? If you're using UMAs and SMA money managers and model money managers, they're getting a lot of stuff every single week, right? And we have a template email that we send out showing them how to log into their Equipped and where you go to shut off all that paper, right? Where you can pick and choose, hey, I want prospectuses, proxies, disclosures, all that stuff sent to my inbox, but I want a paper statement, right? So we have an email template, but again, it's email. Client's not necessarily using it. So one idea here, we got to figure out how to get a dummy Equipped account, right? Or Pershing account and Equipped, where we would do screenshot recording, right? And show them, again, in a video, where to go to do it, versus reading in a text that, hey, you go to this section, then you do this, this, and this, because then they're reading it and they're gone after the first 2 lines of that email. You think about, what do we do today? Today we get on YouTube, and I YouTube everything on how to smoke a brisket, a pork loin. I YouTube how to fix my weed trimmer, right? All video, not a manual. If I have to look at a manual, it's like, so that's how we see Vidyard also coming into play. Screenshot recording, birthday messages, just again, something different, right? The girls are not crazy about it. They don't want to be on camera. So I'm not going to make them do that. I'm going to work on them because I think it's a good way to introduce themselves to new clients. But if they don't ever want to do that,
I would.
how we doing? How we doing on time?
We have 5.
5. Okay. We can talk all about, find me, during, middle of sessions and things like that, and I can talk to you. But I wanted to give you guys one more good piece that I think I probably get 3 or 4. Okay, so this piece is going around. Again, this is being handed out in every review, again, to try to train clients that this is how we want to be communicated with. That the industry is very complex. We have to be compliant. We don't want to bury and miss things. This is how we want you communicating with us. So I think Miranda passed that around. So I probably get, 3 to 4 calls a quarter on, hey, which money manager are you using? Or how did you do your investment research, right? And we have a good discussion about WMP because that's what we use. I was lost during the transition from Signator to Royal because of what they did with Morningstar. And Morningstar happened to work with Fidelity as a custodian versus Pershing. So I went searching for, what am I going to do? What am I going to propose to my clients as far as investment management and third-party money managers? WMP was extremely overwhelming. Who's felt that way? Yes. It takes a lot of time and investment. So I want to give you guys real quick an efficient way to do your research without having to worry if Brad Hickman or Ian Bates is going to give you a call back, right? Those guys are great, but they're very busy, right? And sometimes it takes them, right, a couple of days to get back to you. And usually when you want to find a new money manager, you need it when? Now, right? Or within 24 hours. So I'm going to come here and walk you through a simple way that you can add a research tool right on your desktop. And again, if you put your email down on that sign-up sheet, we can email you the slide presentation that has the screenshots on how to do it. And you can also call us and we'll walk you through it. Okay, first thing, obviously you get into the wealth management platform. You go to the research tab, and again, I got all this instructions laid out. You go to all solutions. Okay. Ignore that for a minute. Okay, so here's all the products by product type. You guys might have saved layouts already, and maybe you don't have any idea how they got there. And so if you want to build a brand new one, just come in here and go to all products by product type. And this will show you every single ETF you have available, mutual funds, separate account, strategist UMA, just everything, right? 18,378 of them. Still overwhelming, right? So now from there, I don't like these columns. I'm going to come into Column Manager and I'm going to get rid of and rebuild a few things here. Okay, I want closed and minimum because we need to know minimum if we're going to recommend it, right? And we want to know whether or not that SMA manager is open for new investment or if it's closed. And then this is where you can get creative, right? What do you want to look at? Do you want to look at return only? Do you want to look at alpha? Do you want to look at batting average? Everybody's going to have a different idea of how they do their research. But I'll just show you what we do. We do alpha, 5-year, and then we're going to do, geez, you can see there's a lot, right? Tell you what, for timing purposes, I'm going to go into the CFG demo. In our columns, here's what we have. Minimum closed, year-to-date performance, 1, 3, 5, and 10. We don't want to look at anybody that doesn't have a 10-year performance history. 5-year alpha, I picked that up from Jeff. You know, if we're going to use separate account managers and we're going to pay for them 50 to 70 basis points, we want them to outperform, right? If they don't, they don't have a track record of it, what's the point? So we picked that one up from Jeff. And then batting average, all batting average is, okay, you can have a really high alpha because one separate account outperformed 1 year by a significant margin. The batting average tells us how often they beat the benchmark. So we'd like to have a batting average of 50% or more, right? So if you got 10 years and you got a high alpha, maybe they had 2 years that were really solid and the other 8 sucked or trailed, right? This tells us if we have a high alpha and a high batting average, they're doing it on a regular basis. Does that make sense? And then these little up and down arrows, you can position them how you want them, right? In which order. Then the search filter, running out of time, I know. How we go about it is if I want to see separate accounts like straight stock portfolios and straight bond portfolios, we got that in our search filter. And then we use sleeve because what do we know about sleeves versus just the regular strategy? The sleeves are lower minimums. So you might have a manager that has a $100,000 minimum, but if you use it as a sleeve, it might be a $40,000 minimum. And we can create single strategy UMAs. So you're getting access to a money manager that normally has a $100,000 minimum for 40, right? But essentially what you have at the end of this is now we have narrowed down that 18,000 search criteria to 240. Right? And we have it sorted by asset class, right? So you got a guy that wants large cap growth stock. Here we go. We got them all. And we can do our research pretty darn quickly, right? Minimums, returns, alpha, and then all we do is you click a couple of them here and you hit this compare products. Do a 10-year, and now you're going to get some nice comparison numbers as far as minimums, number of holdings, turnover ratio. Why is that important, right? If we got a non-qualified portfolio, we probably want to be there, right? So anyway, that I can help you guys. Like if you're frustrated with trying to do your investment research and you're always trying to call somebody and maybe not getting their quickest response, I can show you how to build this so it's right on your dashboard, right? And you have access to search money managers by asset class just like that. Okay, so that was, I didn't think I'd run out of time. Thank you, everybody. Any questions? Okay.